What's going on, guys? Don't know if I'm going to upload this or not. I want to do a rant right now because something just happened recently, or a recent event happened. First off, do you want to know something surprising about me? Maybe it's not surprising. Maybe if anybody's ever watched any of my videos or any of my vlogs, they already know this by now. But I never had a date ever in my life. Never had a date ever in my life. I am a 34-year-old man. I never had a date ever in my life. And that's fucking insane. I mean, usually you have dates when you're a teenager and stuff like that. But with this weird body odor condition, completely derailed my entire social life. So pretty much like I stopped socializing or doing anything from 20s until now. And now, like at the age of 30, like I'm slowly trying to integrate back into like social settings and then try to socialize and get friends and start to date. A goal of mine for 2024 was to socialize, try to do more socialized things like that. So basically that means to go into group activities, participate in group activities, go to meetups, date. I reopened up my dating profiles, whatever. And don't get me wrong, like when I was in my late 20s, I was working as a security guard in my late 20s and I attempted to do it. I was like, okay, I think I went out plenty of fish the first time. It's like, shit, I mean, I gotta try, right? And I had no luck. I don't know if I even tried them when I was 29. And I think when I was 29, that's when the start of like the pandemic started to happen. I think. No. It actually started when I was 29, but like 29 to 30, that's when the pandemic started to happen. And I was obviously did not really engage any, like, I wonder what the like dating situation was at the time. Because obviously you couldn't go out and none of that shit. So those dating apps must have just shut down. And once people were able to go out and do stuff, there probably was a lot of fucking going around. But I don't know why I said that. I guess the point I'm trying to say is like I made many attempts to go do dates and stuff like that. And the first time I ever made an attempt was like when I was like 28. And then I didn't do it in 29. But I think I tried to do it at 30, later in at 30, and then I kept trying and I just kept failing. Don't get me wrong, I got matches. Sometimes I got likes, but kept failing all the time. And it's only till now that I actually got a date for the first time. And I'm actually coming back for my second date. This is my second date, but not with the same person. It's a different person. So first date was with one woman, second date, obviously, another woman. And I know that, what's so weird about it is like, I'm so proud. I sort of like pat myself on the back a little bit for like going out and just doing stuff with another person. Cause since I had it for like 19 years, I always had this fear and anxiety, and I always had these paranoid thoughts and fear that, oh man, if I go and she says, man, what's that smell? Does somebody smell like shit? Did someone shit their pants? Or, it might get comments like that, even though you're like, obviously you wash yourself, you do all the hygienic routines. Nonetheless, you might get comments like that, or overhear someone say something stinks or blah, blah, blah. And you're like, you fearful of that. So dealing with that for like decade plus, like that's like lodged in your brain, you can't get it out. So there's always this anxiety. There's always already like an anxiety of meeting a person for the first time, but there's now a second layer of anxiety because now it's like, oh shit, do I smell bad to her? And now you have to like look at her facial expressions to determine if she's like showing any sort of, not remorse, any sort of regret, any sort of like displeasure of being close to you. and then you have to like drown out your negative thoughts because you don't want them to take hold of you, because if you do, then you're going to be paralyzed with fear. The point I'm trying to make is, well, I want to first start talking about the first date I ever went to, which was this year. I think it was last month. I was going to put this in a vlog, but whatever. And my experience, my takeaway from that experience for the first date was, it was enjoyable for the most part. I met her on Hinge. We decided, I said, hey, let's go see a movie or whatever. We went to see the movie Abigail. And it's pretty much a horror movie where it's like, there's these criminals who kidnap this rich little girl for ransom, but turns out this rich little girl is actually a voracious vampire that's mainly sent to kill them, and they're locked into this mansion there, and this vampire is mainly sent to kill all of them because they actually did some type of dirty work or something against some type of criminal organization that she's a part of. It's a likable movie for the most part. Didn't like how it ended, but in any case, going back to the date was enjoyable for the most part. It was enjoyable, and the reason why I enjoyed it so much was the fact that I was able to be face to face with another human being and talk about just random stuff. Let your interests, your disinterests. I don't think I ever thought I would do that at this moment in time. Like when I was still at my mother's house in Miami, I thought I was going to be living with my mother till the age of 40 and never being able to get over, never being able to even have a career, never being able to be autonomous, live by myself, and still having this problem, and never being able to enjoy life at all, and my arm is tired. I'm holding up the camera. I'm sorry. So I have to switch to my other arm. So like in just like a couple of years, that notion, that belief has been completely debunked, or got completely eradicated, because I am living on my own. I have a career now, and I'm going on dates and shit. Like look at me, like. And the thing is, I was going to like flip the camera, but like, yeah, I'm always to myself because I have a remote opportunity. I have a remote job. So like going out and just being with a person, just talking about shit and trying to connect with them, it was very enjoyable. Even though she was unattractive, she was a very unattractive woman. She looked really good in her pictures, but when I saw her up close, see her in 3D, she looked like a little bit plumper, a bulbous version of her, So that was like disappointing, It was like, oh, well, she looks like an evolved form of her, like she looked like she was bulking for a good like 3 months. She was on a bulking diet, and you see all the bulking fat deposits in her arms and neck, That was surprising. But I enjoyed the experience of being with a person and just talking about shit. And we went to the theater, and, we were like 20 minutes ahead of time. So we just sat down and started talking about horror movies for a good 10 to 20 minutes. And it was enjoyable because majority of the time when I watch all these movies or I do stuff by myself, I don't have anyone to say it to. And yes, I could possibly connect with people, online, or talk to people on the phone or something like that. But it's way more enjoyable to talk face to face. Even if I never see this person again, I still enjoyed the experience of talking face to face and seeing if we connect on certain things. So the first date, I enjoyed the experience of just talking to someone. Didn't really find her attractive when I saw her face to face. But it was like, oh, this was great. And the second date, which I just came from, I don't really want to say her name, whatever. But I really enjoyed that experience. This date, I went to bowling. I went bowling with her. Because And because when I found out where she's located, she's like 50 something miles, not 50 something miles, 50 minutes away from me. I'm like, oh shit, right? So then I had to figure out, okay, what's the place I can go where we could both meet and it's like halfway. And I was like, okay, maybe just go bowling. I think a bowling alley is pretty close. So I was like, oh, let's go bowling. So we went bowling. And who gives a shit about the bowling? Even though I won, obviously, because I'm the man. But fuck bowling, right? I enjoyed, not only did I enjoy the conversation with her, I enjoyed looking at her. This is so stupid. But I'm sorry. I enjoyed her nerdiness. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things we have in common. First off, I'm a software developer. She's a software developer. We're both the same age. We both were born in Miami and moved to Jacksonville. But she's above me in a lot of ways. She has her own fucking house, bruh. I'm like, what the fuck? You own your own? She's like, yeah, I have my own house and I do real estate. I'm like, what the fuck? You do real estate and you have your own house? What the fuck? And you're a software developer? That's fucking crazy. What the fuck? So she's like some super boss, independent, shit going on. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm still living in this pussy ass apartment and shit. Look at this. You know what I mean? What the fuck, right? Even though I actually like my apartment, but she's like, I'm like, damn, that's crazy. She's like stunning on me. She's like, ooh, and I got my own house. Ooh. I'm like, damn, right? But she wasn't like rubbing it in, but she was just like saying, she was just like listing out things she was doing. And I'm like, damn, this is cool. And after the end of the exchange, when we're done, I was really thinking about it. Like, I like this woman. I like that we have a lot of things in common. The only other thing that we don't really have in common, aside from her having a house and she's all into real estate and she's like Catholic or something. So she's like into all this God stuff. And I'm agnostic. I believe there's a God, but I don't really follow. I feel like all religions on earth are man-made. Like there's no evidence of it. I do believe that there might be a higher being, but I don't think we have the technology or the knowledge of what it really is. We have an idea of what we perceive God, we want God to be, and we write, I don't want to get into all that. But the point is, she's Catholic, I'm not. And, but I feel like this might be an issue. And, but other than that, like, I was like, I really like her. And the thing is, once I started thinking about how I really like her, I started having this fear. I had this fear about really liking a person, and then eventually, once they like get around me more and more often, they start to pick up on this odor, this weird odor that this undetectable odor that many people say I smell like ass, smell like shit, smell awful, and she picks up on the shit. I also want to rewind a little bit to the first date. Another reason why I stopped actually continue with the first date, the bulbous woman, is because she wasn't reacting to me early on, but after the movie and I drove her home, I picked her up and I drove her to the place and I drove her back home, she started reacting crazy. She started rubbing her nose like incessantly, just constantly rubbing her nose. And like she'll pinch her nose, she'll rub her nose. And I'm like, whoa, And I did notice like when I was watching the movie, I felt like there was like heat coming out the back of my neck. I'm like, oh, maybe there's some gas that's emitting from my neck or something like that. I don't fucking know. So once she started reacting to me, and I saw that, I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to see her again. She probably thinks I smell bad or whatever. And at the same time, I'm not really that attracted to her, so cool. Second date, I'm sitting side by side, not side by side, but she's across from me, and we're doing bowling and shit. And whenever I get up, I always had this fear, like, because from my experience, when I get up from places, people would react. So I'm thinking whenever I get up just to go bowling my set, I feel like she can take a whiff of something, but I don't know because I never looked back to see if she's taking a whiff of anything. So it's like messing with my fucking head. But the point I'm trying to make is that's the fears is still there. The fear of, I like this woman and it's going to, I fear that I will be so connected with this woman until she starts to pick up that, okay, this guy always smells like ass and I don't want to be around this person anymore. And that makes me feel sad. And I don't know how to feel about it. And that's the thing about dating. It's like, dating already is hard. And I feel like I'm just going to keep it real. I feel like it's hard for men, more specifically than women. Women in general, and there's always been, if people don't want to, people can look it up on the internet. Like there's just like the average woman can get way more likes or opportunities from other men as opposed to men. Men have to constantly go out and try to pursue these women. And even then, since they're so flooded with so many different messages from so many different guys, it's like, it's very difficult for the average guy just to get something. So there's also that, like, there's this element to like scarcity for women. I don't really get likes. I just have to go out and constantly like try to comment and like stuff for them to respond back to me. So this is my second date and I feel proud of it because, like, again, I didn't even think I would even, I thought I was going to still be on my mother's couch at the age of 40, never amounting to anything, but the fear of, if I really, really start liking this woman and then she starts realizing this guy smells and then she starts repelling or slowly stop talking to me, slowly start losing interest. Like, that's the fear I have. Like, liking someone and then them connecting odor to me and then they just start slowly drawing back. That's the fear I have. And another fear is like after like the day after we like leave the bowling alley, it's like, oh yeah, I enjoyed my time with you. It's like, yeah, I enjoyed my time too. Maybe we should go hiking or she said, or tennis, because I like playing tennis. Or she said like she likes playing tennis. So I was like, I never played in a long time and I don't have a tennis racket. She said, I have an extra tennis racket. And I was like, oh, well, it probably is going to be hot outside. And she's like, wow, you're making a lot of excuses right now. Not to, and it's not the fact that I was making so many excuses. It's like, I just know whenever it's hot and I start to sweat, I get really bad reactions. So I'm trying to, that's the reason why I went to the bowling alley, because I knew it's going to be in a temperature, a controlled temperature environment. It's probably going to be 70 to 60 degrees. It's not going to be 80 or something high like that. So I'm not, even if I sweat, which I was sweating, my armpits were sweating, I'm not going to sweat that much. And I have hyperhidrosis. So I for the average person, it might take them 30 minutes to sweat. For me, it might take me 5 minutes to start seeing visible sweat on my face and shit. So when she's talking about, oh, let's go to play tennis, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, shit. If I play tennis, I'm going to start sweating, and then she's going to start picking up the smell, and then she's not going to like me and then unmatch me. And so it was like that thing, and I was like, maybe something else. You know what I mean? I was trying to convince her, maybe another activity. And she's like, wow, you're really so bothered with sweating. And I can't tell her the reason why. Because, then I'm going to sound like a weirdo, or maybe then she's like, oh, this guy has some weird odor problem. Yuck. I don't want to be with this guy. Unmatched. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. It sucks to really like people and have this fear that there's this obstacle, this odor obstacle in your way that prevents you from pursuing forward, because you're like, if I get too close, oh my God, then this is going to happen, then that's going to happen. It may not happen. And that's the thing. it may or may not happen, and you never fucking know. And that's the issue I'm having right now. I wanted to talk about dating because, yeah, like it's all new to me, right? And yeah, I'm probably a loser because you're dating now at this age. Yeah, I'm a loser. But again, like I didn't. It was not because I didn't want to date when I was in my 20s or whatever the fuck. It's because this condition hampered me to not move forward in terms of socializing and building bonds with people, etc. Now, for other people, that might be the complete opposite. Like, oh, this didn't stop me from shit. Cool, salute to you. But yeah, man, I don't know if I want to do that tennis date, bro. And a part of me wants to do like preemptive unmatching. Like I feel like this is how weird my mind is. Like, oh man, she's probably gonna, if she ever really takes a whiff of me, she's gonna be like, oh man, you smell so terribly. So maybe if I unmatch her before she unmatches me, I feel better. Cause what if I don't want to get in? Another thing is, another factor is if you like a person, since I don't really have like actual local close friends, so this is my only person I'm communicating with, and I really, really like her, and then something happens. Like, I don't know, we just have a major disagreement, and then we break up. And since that was like that was the sole person I was communicating and having a strong bond with, and now I'm separated from that. Now I'm going to be very dependent on that. That's another factor that bothers me, Maybe I should have a cat. Maybe the cat will balance it. Or, have a pet. I don't know. I'm very apprehensive at the moment. And I don't know what the next move is. Hopefully it's not going to a tennis court. But yeah, that's it. I'm done with my rant.